Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Why am I zoomed in so much? So, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a video about my top 15 most anticipated 2020 releases. So I do have 15 books that I'm going to be talking about that are mostly thrillers or mysteries, but I do have quite a few YA as well, and then one book where I don't really know where to place it. It's just fiction. It's just a fiction book. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. So the first list of books that I'm gonna be talking about are gonna be the thrillers and mysteries that I have on my list. And I'm going to start off with You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. And this book comes out on March 3rd, I believe. I read The Woman Between Us and it was kind of basic for me, but I also didn't read An Anonymous Girl. I still plan on reading that, but this is going to be their third book together, and so I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air about it, but I still want to read it and give it a chance. So we'll see. This is what the synopsis says about it. It says, the thrilling new novel from the #1 New York Times bestselling authors of An Anonymous Girl and The Wife Between Us. You probably know someone like Shay Miller. She wants to find love, but it eludes her. She wants to be fulfilled, but her job is a dead end. She wants to belong, but her life is so isolated. You probably don't know anyone like the Moore sisters. They have an unbreakable circle of friends. They live the most glamorous life. They always get what they desire. Shay thinks she wants their life, but what they really want is hers. So, love that. Moving on to the next book. I didn't even know this was a thing until like yesterday, and I read the synopsis and I was like, I need to read this. And it is called The Deep by Alma Katsu. Sorry if I mispronounced the name. It comes out on March 10th. A lot of March books in my list, I think. But the synopsis for The Deep is basically about the Titanic. And if you didn't know me in 6th grade, I was obsessed with the Titanic. Everything about the Titanic. Alright, so the synopsis for The Deep is, someone or something is haunting the Titanic. This is the only way to explain the series of misfortunes that have plagued the passengers of this ship from the moment they set sail. Mysterious disappearances, sudden deaths, now suspended in an eerie, unsettling twilight zone during the 4 days of the liner's illustrious maiden voyage. A number of the passengers, including Madeline Astor and Benjamin Guggenheim, the maid Annie Hebley, and Mark Fletcher, are convinced that something sinister is going on. And then, as the world knows, disaster strikes. They be hitting that ice. They be hitting the ice. And they all die. And Rose could have got Jack on that door. I'm telling you, she was selfish. Years later, and the world is at war. And a survivor of that fateful night, Annie, is working as a nurse on the 6th voyage of the Titanic's sister ship, the Britannica, now refitted as a hospital ship. Plagued by the demons of her doomed first and near fatal journey across the Atlantic, Annie comes across an unconscious soldier she recognizes while doing her rounds. It is the young man Mark, and she is convinced that he could not have survived the sinking of the Titanic. Brilliantly combining the fact and fiction, the historical and the horrific, The Deep reveals a chilling truth in an unputdownable narrative full of unnerving moments and a growing, inexorable sense of foreboding. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Mysteries and the Titanic, it's done. It's done. The next book on my list is The Other Miss by Mary Kubica. and it comes out on February 18th. And I don't really know that much about this one other than it's a thriller. So let's read the synopsis together. Sadie and Will Faust have only just moved their family from the bustling Chicago to small town Maine with their neighbor. Oh wait, no. I know what this is. When their neighbor, it's like a haunted house story, I think. Sadie and Will Faust have only just moved their family from bustling Chicago to a small town Maine when their neighbor, Morgan Baines, is found dead inside her home. The murder rocks their tiny coastal island, but no one is more shaken than Sadie, who is terrified by the thought of a killer in her very own backyard. But it is not just Morgan's death that has Sadie on edge. It's their eerie old house, with its decrepit decor and creepy attic, which they inherited from Will's sister after she died unexpectedly. It's Will's disturbed teenage niece, Imogen? I don't know. With her dark and threatening presence, who kick her out. Kick her out. And the troubling past that continues to wear at the seams of their family. As the eyes of suspicion turn toward the new family in town, Sadie is drawn deeper into the mystery of Morgan's death. But Sadie must be careful. For the more she discovers about Miss Baines, the more she begins to realize just how much she has to lose if the truth ever comes to light. So, yeah. The next book I'm going to be talking about, this is not wine, it is apple juice. Thank you. I do not drink alcohol anymore. But sometimes it's nice to feel like it. Okay? And apple juice is the bomb. So I want to hear it. I want to hear it. The next book that I'm going to be talking about is a new book from Riley Sager, which I personally love his books. I know some people don't, or some people are kind of iffy on it, but I freaking loved Final Girls. And last year I read Lock Every Door, and I really enjoyed that too. So I am super excited to read Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. It comes out on July 7th, and I think this is also like a haunted house situation. So very excited about that because I love stories about haunted houses. Give me all the spooky shit. Like, for real. In the latest thriller from New York Times bestseller Riley Sager, a woman returns to the house made famous by her father's best-selling horror memoir. Is this like Haunting of Hill House? Where they lives in a house, he wrote a book about it, and then they come back later? Because if so, this is freaking dope. I don't know why I said dope like that, but dope. Is the place really haunted by evil forces as her father claims? Yes, it is, girl. You better believe your father. Or are there more earthbound and dangerous secrets hidden within its walls? What was it like living in that house? Maggie Holt is used to such questions. 25 years ago, she and her parents, Ewan and Jess, moved into Bainbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. They spent 3 weeks there before fleeing in the dead of the night, an ordeal Ewan later recounted in a non-fiction book called House of Horrors. His tale of ghostly happenings and encounters with malevolent spirits became a worldwide phenomenon, rivaling the Amityville Horror in popularity and skepticism. Okay. Today, Maggie is a restorer of old homes and too young to remember any of the events mentioned in her father's book. But she also doesn't believe a word of it. Ghosts, after all, don't exist. Yes, they do, girl. I'm sorry, ghosts exist. Okay? They do. I'm sorry if y'all don't believe that, but they do. I'm telling you. When Maggie inherits Bainbury Hall after her father's death, she returns to renovate the place to prepare it for a sale. But her homecoming is anything but warm. People from the past, chronicled in House of Horrors, lurk in the shadows, and locals aren't thrilled that their small town has been made infamous thanks to Maggie's father. Even more unnerving is Banbury Hall itself, a place filled with relics from another era that hint at a history of dark deeds. As Maggie experiences strange occurrences straight out of her father's book, she starts to believe that what he wrote was more fact than fiction. And wish it was, girl, because ghosts are real. Hello. So yeah, excited about that. Don't let us down, Raleigh Sager, please. Well, I wish he would make a sequel to Final Girls, because like I need that in my life and I've been waiting, but this will have to do. The next book that I have on my list is also another thriller mystery. So the next book is called Behind Every Lie by Christina McDonald, and it comes out on February 4th. I'm pretty sure this is about a woman who wakes up in the hospital and she doesn't know who she is, and she's like trying to figure it out. Apparently someone said on Goodreads, I saw that like somebody had liked this person's review of it, and the person had said that it is very similar to The Night Olivia Fell, which I personally really liked. So I can't wait to see if this one is as good or better than that book. If you can't remember it, how do you prove you didn't do it? Eva Hansen wakes up in hospital after being struck by lightning and discovers her mother, Kat, has been murdered. Oh, well, never mind. This is not what I expected. Eva was found unconscious down the street. She can't remember what happened, but the police are highly suspicious of her. Okay, yeah, this is the same thing. Determined to clear her name, Eva heads from Seattle to London, Kat's former home, for answers. Ooh, it's in London. But as she unravels her mother's carefully held secrets, Eva soon realizes that someone doesn't want her to know the truth. And with violent memories beginning to emerge, Eva doesn't know who to trust, least of all herself. Told in alternating perspectives from Eva's search for answers and Kat's mysterious past, Christina McDonald has crafted another complex, emotionally intense domestic thriller. Behind Every Lie explores the complicated nature of mother-daughter relationships, family trauma, and the danger behind long-held secrets. The next book is also a thriller. Of course. What would we expect? So this book is called 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, and it comes out on March 3rd. See, a lot of books in March. It's crazy. And this is apparently about a book that the character wrote. I'm gonna read the synopsis, but it's apparently about this book that the character wrote, and he has like 8 perfect murders in the book from books. And so it's like Agatha Christie and like other famous writers, like just deaths in other books. And then like the police come after him, I think. Let's see. From the hugely talented author of Before She Knew Him. I have never heard of this guy, but if this is good, then I might have to read that. Comes a chilling tale of psychological suspense and a homage to the thriller genre tailor-made for fans. The story of a bookseller who finds himself at the center of an FBI investigation because a very clever killer has started using his list of fiction's most ingenious murders. Years ago, bookseller and mysterious, I don't know, aficionado, I don't know. I do not know. Sorry, my brain is the size of a pea. Malcolm Kearshaw compiled a list of the genre's most unsolvable murders, those that were almost impossible to crack, which he titled 8 Perfect Murders. Okay. Chosen from among the best of the best, including Agatha Christie's ABC Murders, Patricia Highsmith's Strangers on a Train, Ira Levin's Dance Trap, A.A. Milne's Red House Mystery, Anthony Berkeley Cox's Malice Afterthought, James M. McCain's Double Indemnity. I am butchering this. John D. MacDonald's The Drowner, and Donna Tartt's A Secret History. But no one is more surprised than Mal. Now the owner of Old Devil's Bookshop in Boston. Well, there you go right there. That is a terrible name for a bookshop. You just asking for it, sir. When an FBI agent comes knocking on his door one snowy day in February, she's looking for information about a series of unsolved murders that look eerily similar to the killings on Mal's old list. And the FBI agent isn't the only one interested in this bookseller who spends almost every night at home reading. The killer is out there watching his every move, a diabolical threat who knows way too much about Mal's personal history, especially the secrets he's never told anyone, even his recently deceased wife. Ooh. To protect himself, Mal begins looking into possible suspects and sees a killer and everyone around him. But Mal doesn't count on the investigation, leaving a trail of death in its wake. Suddenly, a series of shocking twists leaves more victims dead, and the noose around Mal's neck grows so tight he might never escape. And then, this is actually the last book on my murder/mystery list. And I don't even know if I would consider it thrillers or anything, because I have no idea what it's about. And it is a new book by Stephen King, and it is called If It Bleeds by Stephen King. It comes out in May 5th, and it is a collection of 4 stories, and they're called Mr. Harrigan's Phone, The Life of Chuck, Rat. It's the year of the rat, and I was born in 1996, so that's me. Okay. And then the last one is If It Bleeds. And apparently it is about Holly Gibney, who also appears in the Bill Hodges series, which is like Mr. Mercedes and all of those books. And then The Outsider, which I never actually got around to reading, so I will catch up with you. We shall see. And now I'm going to move on to the YA novels. I have 7 of those. This video is so long. I'm going to start off with the one that I'm most excited for, which is The Night Country by Melissa Albert, which is the 2nd book in the Hazelwood series. And it came out actually on January 7th. So by the time you're watching this, it is already out. You can go purchase it for yourself. And I have not personally bought it yet, but I will be soon, okay? Because I'm so excited. If you know the Hazelwood already, then, you know, continue listening. And if you haven't read it yet, which, go read it. So it says, in the Night Country, Alice Proserpine dives back into a menacing, mesmerizing world of dark fairy tales and hidden doors. Follow her and Ellery Finch as they learn the Hazelwood was just the beginning, and that worlds die not with a whimper, but with a bang. With Finch's help, Alice escaped the hinterland and her reclusive grandmother's dark legacy. Now she and the rest of the dregs of the fairy tale world have washed up in New York City, where Alice is trying to make a new, unmagical life. But something is stalking the hinterland's survivors, and she suspects their deaths may have a darker purpose. Meanwhile, in the winking out world of the hinterland, Finch seeks his own adventure, and if he can find it, a way back home. Can't wait to read. Can't wait to read. It's so pretty. I'm pretty sure I gave this 4 stars when I read it, so I hope that the sequel is as good as this, or, you know, hopefully better. The next book that I'm going to be talking about is actually, we're going back to the Hunger Games, people. So, it's called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, who wrote the Hunger Games series, and it comes out on May 19th. And all that I found that it is about is we revisit the world of Panem 64 years before the Hunger Games, starting on the morning of the reaping of the 10th Hunger Games. You kidding me? I'm so excited. I'm so freaking excited. Like, what is it gonna be? Katniss Everdeen's grandparents or something? I don't know, but I'm excited. Like, I didn't like the movies as much as I like the books. The books are freaking phenomenal. So if you've seen the movies and you haven't read the books, first of all, what is wrong with you? And second of all, go read it. Because they're great. The movies were totally overhyped. I mean, it was all overhyped, but just like Twilight. But they're really good books. And so I'm excited for this one. Next is going to be the sequel to Serpent and Dove, which is called Blood and Honey by Shelby Maharin. No idea. It comes out on September 1st, and there was no synopsis for it or anything, which I'm glad for because I have not read Serpent and Dove yet, but it is on my TBR list for the year, pretty much. I'm gonna read it this year, and it doesn't come out till September, so I have a bit of time. I have some time. The next book is also a sequel. I have a lot of sequels on here. The next is going to be This Coven Won't Break by Isabel Sterling, which is the sequel to These Witches Don't Burn, and it comes out on June 2nd. And I read These Witches Don't Burn and I freaking loved it. Like, there was some things that were like kind of cheesy, but like I loved it. Like, gay witches all day. Here is this synopsis, because you know I'm excited for this. It says, in the gripping romantic sequel, ooh, romantic, to These Witches Don't Burn, Hannah must work alongside her new girlfriend to take down the hunters desperate to steal her magic. Hannah Walsh just wants a normal life. It's her senior year, so she should be focusing on classes, hanging out with her best friend, and flirting with her new girlfriend Morgan. But it turns out surviving a murderous witch hunter doesn't exactly qualify as a summer vacation, and now the rest of the hunters seem even more intent on destroying her magic than ever. When Hannah learns the hunters have gone nationwide, armed with a serum capable of taking out entire covens at once, dang, she's desperate to help. Now with witches across the country losing the most important thing they have, their power, Hannah could be their best shot at finally defeating the hunters. Okay, but she's a senior in high school. Is she really their best defense? Is she really though? After all, she's one of the only witches to escape a hunter with her magic intact. Okay. Or so everyone believes. Because as good as she is at faking it, even doing the smallest bit of magic leaves her in agony. Like I said, is she really the best? The only person who can bring her comfort, who can make her power flourish, is Morgan. But Morgan's magic is on the line too. And if Hannah can't figure out how to save her and the rest of the witches, she'll lose everything she's ever known. And as the hunters get dangerously close to their final target, will all the witches in Salem be enough to stop an enemy determined to destroy magic for good? The next book is also a book that I am excited for, but I also thought the first book was kind of mediocre. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best. I know some people really enjoyed this book, but the sequel is coming out. And it is the sequel to The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman, and it is called The Deck of Omens, and it comes out on April 1st. So if you haven't read it yet, don't listen to the synopsis, and if you have, you know, continue listening, I guess. The teenagers of Four Paths must save their home in the sequel to hit fantasy. Shouldn't it be in the sequel to the hit I don't know. In a sequel to hit fantasy, The Devouring Grey, for fans of Stranger Things, Riverdale, and The Raven Cycle, though the beast, oh my gosh, whoever wrote this, very confusing. My family's so loud. My mom came show me the painting that she made. She copied Monet. Isn't it pretty? Here. So, I don't remember where I was. Whoever wrote this synopsis, oof. I'm just gonna restart. the synopsis. The teenagers of Four Paths must save their home in the sequel to hit fantasy. For fans of Stranger Things, Riverdale, and The Raven Cycle, though the beast is seemingly subdued for now, a new threat looms in Four Paths, a corruption seeping from the gray into the forest. And with the other founders preoccupied by their tangled alliances and fraying relationships, only May Hawthorne, that's me, seems to realize the danger. But saving the town she loves means seeking aid from the person her family despises most, her and Justin's father. May's father isn't the only newcomer in town. Isaac Sullivan's older brother has also returned, seeking forgiveness for the role he played in Isaac's troubled past. But Isaac isn't ready to let go of his family's history, especially when that history might hold the key that he and Violet Saunders need to destroy the Grey and the monster within it. Harper Carlisle isn't ready to forgive either. Two devastating betrayals have left her isolated from her family and uncertain who to trust. As the corruption becomes impossible to ignore, Harper must learn to control her newfound powers in order to protect Four Paths. But the only people who can help her do that are the ones who have hurt her the most. With the veil between the Grey and the town growing ever thinner, all of the founder descendants must put their grievances with one another aside to stop the corruption and kill the beast once and for all. But maybe the monster they truly need to slay has never been the beast. I'm down to my last two final books of the YA section. I only have three books left. So next one is Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, and it comes out on it comes out on April 7th. And if you didn't know, Veronica Roth is the one who wrote the Divergent series, which the books were okay, the movies were but this is a new novel from her. I think she's making a new series from this, so we'll see how that is, I guess. I'm gonna go ahead and read the synopsis for Chosen Ones. It says, the first novel written for an adult audience by the mega-selling author of the Divergent franchise. Oh, so it's not a YA novel. So this might be better than Divergent. I hope so. 5 20-something heroes, famous for saving the world when they were teenagers, must face even greater demons and reconsider what it means to be a hero. By destiny or by choice. A decade ago, near Chicago, 5 teenagers defeated the otherworldly enemy known as the Dark One, whose reign of terror brought widespread destruction and death. The seemingly unextraordinary teens, Sloane, Matt, Inez, Albie, and Esther, had been brought together by a clandestine government agency because one of them was fated to be the chosen one, prophesied to save the world. With the goal achieved, humankind celebrated the victors and began to mourn their lost loved ones. 10 years later, though the champions remain celebrities, the world has moved forward and a whole younger generation doesn't seem to recall the days of endless fear. But Sloane remembers. It's impossible for her to forget when the paparazzi haunt her every step, just as the Dark One still haunts her dreams. Unlike everyone else, she hasn't moved on. She's adrift. No direction, no goals, no purpose. On the eve of the 10-year celebration of peace, a new trauma hits the Chosen. The death of one of their own. And when they gather for the funeral at the enshrined site of their triumph, they discover, to their horror, that the Dark One's reign never really ended. So, we'll see how that is. And then the last book that is in the YA category is this book called Woven in the Moonlight. Well, Woven in Moonlight. And it's by Isabel Ibanez. It's Spanish, I think. I'm really bad at names. Sorry. It comes out on January 7th, so it comes out the same day as the second book in the Hazelwood series. So it's already out by the time that you're watching this. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to read this synopsis, but some of the names are kind of hard. I kind of looked some of them up, so hopefully I don't butcher a lot of it, but I might, so stick with me. A lush tapestry of magic, romance, and revolution, drawing inspiration from Bolivian politics and history. Hima is the decoy condessa, a stand-in for the last remaining Illustrian royal. Her people lost everything when the usurper Atok used an ancient relic to summon ghosts and drive Illustrians from La Ciudad. I'm struggling. Now Hima's motivation by her insatiable thirst for revenge and her rare ability to spin thread from Moonlight. When Atok demands the real Condessa's hand in marriage, it's Himena's duty to go in her stead. She relishes the chance, as Illustrian spies have reported that Atok's no longer carrying his deadly relic. If Himena can find it, she can return the true aristocrat to their rightful place. She hunts for the relic, using her weaving ability to hide messages in tapestries for the resistance. But when a masked vigilante, a warm-hearted princess, and a thoughtful healer challenge, oh my god, I'm butchering this, challenge Himena, her mission becomes more complicated. There could be a way to overthrow the usurper without starting another war, but only if Himena turns her back on revenge and her Condessa. Sounds pretty cool to me. And the cover is like beautiful, which is the first thing that drew me in. So the last book that I have on my list for my most anticipated books is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, and it comes out on March 10th. I've been waiting to read this book because I saw some people read it last year, and I know that it didn't come out until, well, it doesn't get published worldwide or in America until March 10th, so I've been waiting a bit. I can't wait to read this because it sounds really good. It says, exploring the psychological dynamics of the relationship between a precocious yet naive teenage girl and her magnetic and manipulative teacher. A brilliant, all-consuming read that marks the explosive debut of an extraordinary new writer. 2000. Bright, ambitious, and yearning for adulthood, 15-year-old Vanessa Y becomes entangled in an affair with Jacob Strand, her magnetic and guileful 42-year-old English teacher. 2017. Amid the rising wave of allegations against powerful men, a reckoning is coming due. Strand has been accused of sexual abuse by a former student who reaches out to Vanessa, and now Vanessa suddenly finds herself facing an impossible choice. Remain silent, firm in the belief that her teenage self willingly engaged in this relationship, or redefine herself and the events of her past. But how can Vanessa reject her first love, the man who fundamentally transformed her and has been a persistent presence in her life? Is it possible that the man she loved as a teenager and who professed to worship only her may be far different from what she has always believed? Alternating between Vanessa's present and her past, My Dark Vanessa juxtaposes memory and trauma with the breathless excitement of a teenage girl discovering the power her own body can wield. Thought-provoking and impossible to put down, this is a masterful portrayal of troubled adolescence and its repercussions that raises vital questions about agency, consent, compliancy, and victimhood. Written with haunting intimacy of the girls and the creepy intensity of room, My Dark Vanessa is an era-defining novel that brilliantly captures and reflects the shifting cultural mores transforming our relationships and society itself. That's a lot. So basically, she has a relationship with her teacher that's fucking disgusting. People are so gross. Let me just say that. People are gross. Even though it's a fake book, like, it's fiction, but like, it happens every day. It's crazy to me. So yeah, that is my 15 most anticipated books for 2020 releases, and I am so excited to read them in 2020. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was long as hell. I'm gonna hate editing this video. But I said that I would stick with the week thing, so this is what you're getting. I'm sorry. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.